Yo, what is going on? This is Ruse Reviews 2025, kicking it off. I guess to jump straight in, today we are looking at Zzarni's project from the end of last year called Offcuts Volume 1. I have my co-host Iffy here. Iffy, how you doing?
I am delicious. So very happy to be working together once again and to many more. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, yes. Very excited to get into this review with you. And like you just mentioned, many, many more, continue to build this whatever empire that we are starting. But yeah, Zzarni, Offcuts, Volume 1, from the Burmese Thai producer, photographer. This came at the end of 2024 and it's a very interesting project, very interesting to approach. Obviously, he is a producer, but instead of hitting up a lot more local artists, he kind of went a little bit of different direction with it, grabbing some very early Meek Mill like freestyles that is from YouTube and like kind of flipping the beats or whatever the production was underneath it. It's made for a really interesting project. But yeah, it was talked about so much on socials that I'm like, nah, we got to touch on this, even though it was the end of 2024. It's it's only right that we start 2025 with this. So yeah, before we get into the project in more depth, Iffy, what was your overall thoughts on the Zzarni project?
I really, really, really loved it. And I think Zani is such a sensational producer. Really good like mixtape to kind of showcase that. I think it was really stripped back. Obviously, it's called Offcuts. Really
Mhm.
stripped back and really kind of simple, but it does the job. I loved it. I think it was really different as well. I think it was hard to kind of grasp that, but
Mhm.
I loved it. End of the day.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I agree. Again, very interesting approach. Definitely one of those projects. The first couple times you're like, who is on the vote?
Literally.
Who am I listening to right now? Until you watch the videos and you're like, okay, so this is Meek. But then what? But then the more you listen to it, the more you're like, nah, this is a vibe. Like I just was listening to it just before we jumped on this call, and I've got quotables now from
That's
a whole
good.
bunch of songs that I'm like, yo, this is so so fun. But anyway, let's get into the pros for this project. Iffy, yeah, what are some key standouts of it could be songs, it could be moments, it could be production, mixing, even Meek himself, because he is definitely a part of this. We can't ignore the Meek in the room. So yeah, what are your pros?
You know the Meek in the room. My pros, once again, really stripped back. And because it was so stripped back, it felt so reminiscent of high school. Like banging on table and everyone has a chance to freestyle. Like it felt homely. I cannot explain it. I really, really love that. And for me, like that song was like Try Me. Try
Mhm.
Me really brought that like concept together, which
Yeah.
I chef's kiss, love that part.
Mhm.
Um, I also really loved the way, how do I even explain this? Obviously, his production and the beats were very simplistic. They were very calm for me, also lo-fi in some
Mhm.
way, some songs.
Yeah.
I loved the grabs he picked,
Hmm.
how they were kind of very different from the overall vibe of the beats,
Hmm.
which for me kind of showed the versatility
Hmm.
in his production. So a lot of the Meek Mill stuff was like boom, boom, hard hitting, and then you had like this gorgeous beat underneath it. Well done, Zani. Like I feel like those two for me, those two pros were like
Hmm.
the main standouts, just because it was once again like so different. I was like, how do I approach this?
No, for sure. Was there any songs in particular that stood out to you?
Definitely Try Me.
Hmm.
And then I really liked Nice to the Majority. I loved that one as well. And then I'd say Same Old too, right at the end. I think it was a really good way to end the mixtape,
Hmm.
purely because I liked the fact that it was there was like no percussion on the beat. I really like he kind of like slowed right back down again, even though the grab was I'm grab aside, on the beat itself.
Yeah.
He really slowed back down, took away the percussion, and was like, we're ending it here. Really simple once again, but so hard hitting. So yeah.
No, for sure, for sure. And you touched on it a couple times, but in my pros, yeah, I love the contrast between again the simple, relaxing production that we know Zzarni for. If you've listened to any of his mixes, outside of this body of work, which songs have also featured on. So he was on Nasty Girls, Sunset on FBI, did like a mix there on Soul Radio as well, a mix. If you hear his production, or even when he's worked with Yibby, Joseph, the likes, it's very, like you said, lo-fi, relaxing, but that in contrast with like how Meek performs is very aggressive, very street tone, raw lyrics. It's such a cool, you know,
It's
contrast to each other.
exactly. I love it.
I'm not sure if you just listened or did you watch the YouTube videos as well to go along with it, like of
Oh, I
him.
never watched the YouTube videos. I just listened.
So I highly suggest that you also watch it. I feel like it brings it to another level, especially just watching the crowd and like him in that, rap to the camera, very mid 2000s style. Again, early blog era or pre-blog era videos. Um, yeah, highly suggest because it just adds another level of just urgency to the lyrics that you're listening to.
Oh my God. Okay. Not to quickly input. Oh my gosh. Sorry. But for me, I got that with just like the background, like
Mm,
obviously I didn't see it happening, but when there would be a song and then like the crowd would cheer, I was like, oh my God. Like I was like, okay, like I'm getting more hype. So I get that. And I'm gonna watch.
yes,
Mhm.
highly suggest. Highly suggest. To kind of touch on some more specific songs, like I personally love Bloodhounds.
Mm.
I think there's like a grit in that performance that is even more than the regular. I love how the beats I wrote sounds like a wholesome 70s sitcom,
Yes.
but on top of it, it's got like, but instead of the cast being like, the regular wholesome sitcom cast, it's like the most hood guy, it's the
Really?
wire, it's like power, that's the cast of this wholesome 70s sitcom. So that's how I like that.
Mm.
I also think the opening verse of Bloodhounds, which isn't from Meek, it's from another guy, is the hardest verse on the whole EP. I also love Nicer the Majority, like you mentioned, the whistle, like sample bends,
Mm.
uh, and the way it reverbs. It feels like Meek is like rapping it, being like beamed up into like an alien spaceship, is how I how I wrote it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that. And just as a whole, again, the selection of Meek, I think, is like a fire reminder of like how amazing Meek was before, he started to, work on some more commercial stuff. Like you can really hear the genuineness, you can hear the passion in his bars, his performance. He feels hungry in comparison to like the last album that he dropped. It's like, whatever. So I think it's super dope that Zzarni tapped into that era of Meek that, a lot of, if you know, you know. But if you don't, and you just know Meek for, what you've more heard, and then maybe occasionally the song Dreams and Nightmares,
I was
uh,
gonna say Dreams.
yeah, then you don't truly know what got the attention
Yeah.
of audiences on Meek in the first place. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think those are a couple of pros that really stood out to me. But whilst there are pros, there are also cons, or maybe there's no cons. But we'll still see. Iffy, was there anything that you were like, I would have changed that, or you didn't particularly like about this project or songs, and yeah.
Honestly, I can't even lie because it is kind of meant to be a really stripped back mixtape.
Mm,
I was like, I don't feel like I can judge this because
mm,
there were obviously imperfections or things that I would have liked, but I was like, I feel like it was really meant to be what it was. I will say one thing I would have liked to see, and
mm,
this is Zzarni's really never done this, but I would have really liked because there was a lot of you could kind of hear the versatility in the productions and you could in your head kind of hear, okay, I can hear this voice or I can hear this. I would have loved to see a different kind of grab,
mm,
anything else. Because I feel like obviously like they were all really good and like they fit all the songs perfectly, but I would have loved to see like something different. Like
yeah, I could.
on the song like Headshots, for
Yeah.
example, one of my favorites as
Mhm,
well. And the beat was like really melodic. And
mm.
I was kind of like, I can hear some like R&B in here. I feel like I can hear like just a simple R&B verse. Obviously, it's hard to like find that or
Mhm.
even suggest that, but I would love to see it. I
For
would have,
sure, for sure, and maybe that can go into the mixes, like when he's like maybe DJing or doing mixes in the future. Um, Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I think the only reason I disagree with that point is because of one, the consistency of the project as a whole, with Meek being at the forefront, but also the R&B is kind of what you would expect on those type of beats.
yeah,
Like, but again, the contrast between the aggressiveness or the rawness of the performance from Meek and the homies around him with the simplicity and the relaxed production really makes for something that's like, hold up,
yeah,
because if you had, what was the song you said? Headshots?
headshots.
Headshots, but over with an R&B track, you'd be like, okay, yeah, this is another R&B. This is another R&B track. File it in the this is good
Yeah.
category, but not in the hold up. You know, that stands out. That's very interesting.
No, I honestly I fully agree with your point. That's why I was like, it's hard for me to even like because like the project is
Mhm.
perfectly perfect as it is. Like it's
Yeah,
so good.
for sure, for sure. But okay, so that's pretty much like the only
Yeah.
critique. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think my cons, and again, it's nothing to, again, Zzarni's production in general. Obviously, you can't really comment on the Meek part of it. But I think what I said, maybe I would have messed around with the for on DSPs.
Mm.
The sequencing. I like the sequencing on YouTube a little bit more because it's not sequenced in exactly the same way on the playlist.
Oh.
Uh, and I think the way the YouTube one falls is a little nicer than the DSP's version. Because I'm
Okay,
not
I
sure.
really should watch. Okay.
So I don't think Hot Days, Cold Nights, I think is what it's called, is the best opener. I feel like Headshots or something like that could have been a better opener.
I,
Um,
I
just
disagree.
just it's because of just before you jump in with your disagreement. I just think that the the topic of what he's talking about in Hot Days, Cold Nights is nice for like a middle order storytelling type thing, but
Yeah.
Headshots is like the perfect yo, what's up with your man's type thing off the bat,
Yeah.
uh, or even yeah. So, but again, that's just an example, like of something that would I would have preferred as the opener. But I'm not cemented in that idea. But yes, as you were saying, so you disagree with that point.
Yeah, because one of the things I like really noted down for myself is with Hot Days, Cold Nights, I loved that it was the opening song.
Hmm.
Me, I was thinking, the production, it's really calm. I like the strings. I was once again less on, the rapping and like the lyricism because I was trying to focus more on Zani. I will say, loved the flow in all the songs.
Mhm.
But I I thought with the production and the beat, like it just fit really well to come as a first song because a lot of the other songs within the mixtape are a bit more different and a bit more like we're ready to go.
Hmm.
But first one, calm, nice, nice
Okay.
with
Eases
the
you in
yeah,
type thing.
win.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That makes sense. And I do love the strings. And again, that's no slight against Hot Days, Cold Nights. Also love that track. But yeah, I don't think you've turned me. I think I'm pretty solid on my stance. But I do hear what you're saying though. It is a nice ease in, and then it gets a little more oomph like as you go along the project. Or it's like a not the roller coaster effect, but kind of the roller coaster effect, but it keeps going up type thing. Um, and then my other not con, but you know, would have been cool to hear is if he kind of played around with like within the freestyles with taking some parts and turning them into hooks. So the structuring of songs. So like the nicer the majority thing, that would have been nice if he brought it back or
Yeah,
he added some more he didn't just let the freestyles run from top to bottom. He kind of, or he separated some of the freestyles, like some of the parts where it's not just Meek, but it's someone else on the track. He could have separated it by with a instrumental break or like a makeshift hook or something like that based on the other parts in the track. I think it would have been cool to just play around with the structure a little bit more. And within that, have room to then mess with his production a little bit more and add some more elements rather than just feeling like it's just the loop straight
yeah,
through over the freestyle. Because again, and it's nothing against Zzarni's production. It's also nothing against this current style that is that very simplistic boom bap or hip hop, traditional hip hop style that's in this current era. But yeah, it would have been cool to hear some variants within
no,
production.
I 110% agree with that. I didn't even like consider like, oh, let's like actually change the grabs. I didn't even consider that. But I think that would have been really interesting to see.
Mm.
And on top of that, I think I would have also liked to have heard kind of what you said, like maybe even different grabs, like just different mixes.
Range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
arrange it all up. I would have loved to hear that.
Mhm.
But still, love what he's done.
For sure. And yeah, like I said, less of cons, more just like personal.
Yeah.
Again, I think that Zzarni absolutely killed it on the production. Again, I love the contrast between that and the Meek, and I'm definitely curious to hear, for another project, what he might tap into with some flips like this, or even if the next project is with again local artists. Again, he works with the likes of Yibby and with Joseph, the Beat Kitchen Records guy, Scruffs, and always is hanging around those the likes of those guys a lot. So yeah, definitely keen. But let's get into our overall rating of the project. To remind you guys out there, here is the rating system that is slightly altered to appeal to Iffy, my new co-host, a little bit as well. So as you know, we have the classics. Are you here for this? Depends on the day whether you're here for this or not. But the new negative category, if we don't like it, is we are feeling iffy about it. So, iffy, are you here for this? Depends on the day, or is it iffy?
I'm actually I'm kidding. I am here for this. I think this is a really solid project from top to bottom. Obviously, we have our personal preferences, but like I can easily kind of look away from that and go, this is just a piece of art. Like point blank, period. It is delicious.
Mhm.
He does so well on everything. Yeah, I want more. I do, and like I've come to terms with the approach and like with the setup of this, and I would like more of that. Considering, people mix it up, but I like how he did it. Yeah.
No, for sure, for sure. And I agree. I am also here for this. Um, I do, like I've mentioned, I love the contrast of the simple production, makes like rawness in his performance. And yeah, I'm curious for more, whether it's more flips like this with other like classic mixtape rappers, could be the likes of like a early J. Cole type mixtape stuff, or I'd love to hear that. I'm trying to think of who else would be a cool like artist to flip from that era. I don't know, maybe like oh what's his name? Waka Flocka Flame.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I hope you're writing this down low key. I
Yeah.
hope you know Pat out because yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd be definitely very, very curious to hear if, Zzarni approaches this like this next time, or again, if it's more uh local artists that he is regularly working with for his next body of work. But either way, I am excited for it. Yeah, Zzarni, Offcuts Volume 1. Iffy. I mean, I feel like I'm so used to saying thanks for being here, but you're gonna be here every single time. So do you have any final do you have any final
Um, no final thoughts, of course. I literally all I want is more like this. More like this. Like all his unused stuff. Just make more little projects, more mixtapes.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Ru.
Take it to me. Like you're the one. I mean, you're co-hosting, so yeah, you can have the final word if you want.
Oh my God, no, please take it.
Oh my
Take it.
oh my goodness. Once again, Zzarni, Offcuts, Ru's Reviews with Ru, okay, the Culture Black Kid, Iffy. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.